if she could afford drugs and alcohol. She can afford support.
Good morning, Ms. Toth.
Good morning.
We just called the case. If you just state your name for the record, please.
Julie Toth.
Thank you. And Mr. Hogue.
All right, Your Honor, this is the matter of Julie Toth versus Ariel Barnes, file number 2022-16705-DS. Notice of adjournment was mailed August 18th, 2023, adjourning the matter from September 14th to today's date. The support obligation is based on Ms. Barnes' 14-day default judgment of support that was entered in August of 2022. Requires $200 a month in child support and medical support. The most recent payments received totaled $239.54 in August of 2023. Currently, there's $3,300.19 owed in child support fees and costs. Most of this is owed to the state of Michigan as a result of a guardianship that is in place. And I would indicate that Ms. Barnes' overall payment history has been fairly poor, with just basically those couple of payments in July and August of 2023. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
Thank you. Mr. Graff, anything you'd like to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Your Honor, obviously we've been here a couple of times for Ms. Barnes. It's been a real struggle. I can say throughout this period of time since the last time we were in court, Ms. Barnes did reach out to me more consistently than she did before. If my notes are correct, she contacted me on August 25th, September 21st, and October 10th. And that was a lot more communication than I'd received throughout the case, I think almost entirely. Unfortunately, recently, her situation has changed once again. And so I did have trouble catching up with her before today's hearing. For a period of time, she informed me she went up to Sault Ste. Marie. She was living with a friend, hoping to get back on her feet. Unfortunately, that did not pan out. And she's now back in the Kalkaska area. She's noted to me the significant struggles that she's dealing with, that being depression and some other issues. She's still filling out applications, hopeful to trying to find a job. I think when you were here last, one of the issues was she didn't have her social security card or her birth certificate. She has those. She has an identification now, but no driver's license. But here's a young person who's really struggling. She has a phone, but she doesn't have service. She has to use Wi-Fi. She's hoping to apply for some type of assistance or food stamps, one being SSI, because she knows that obviously she can't continue to survive without some type of assistance. To her credit, she's informed me that she did reach out to Mr. Greenman. Apparently she missed an appointment, needs to get him the paperwork. She was under the impression that there may be a phone call that's going to happen today, this afternoon after court, that once she makes it into Traverse City to drop off some of that paperwork, he may assist her with going to Michigan Works to try to find a job. And so here's somebody, and unfortunately, one of the quotes that I wrote down when talking to her was, "I can't even take care of myself." And that's pretty heartbreaking to hear when you have anyone, especially a young person. And now we're here in court. And I think the understanding on her part is, if I can't take care of myself, how can I take care of anybody else? And so I think that obviously the placement of Waylon is definitely appropriate. I'm just not sure what we can do for Ms. Barnes, given her current situation. I hope that moving back to the Kalkaska area, where maybe she has some more contacts, maybe things can go better for her. But I think that, the biggest thing is don't lose hope. Keep applying for jobs. Keep reaching out to assistance, because it's out there. And hopefully somebody can help her get back on her feet. I hope that it pans out with meeting Mr. Greenman through the Family Support Court so they can get her some help, as well as getting her a job. And so that is the information I have to update the court regarding my contacts with Ms. Barnes.
You know why she missed her appointment?
I don't.
Ms. Barnes, can you tell me why you missed your appointment with Mr. Greenman?
I missed my appointment because I was in the middle of moving back to Kalkaska and I did not have Wi-Fi where I was at. So I contacted him yesterday and I talked to him, and today we are supposed to have a phone call at like 2:30 to call and talk about my paperwork over the phone, and then after over the phone I'm supposed to return it to him in his office, hand it to like the front desk, and they'll give it to him, and then we'll speak on how to go to the office and talk about Michigan Works.
Okay. And do you have an ability to get to Traverse City?
I do, but it's not every day because he works.
Miss Barnes speaks for herself, explaining missed appointments, lack of Wi-Fi, and transportation issues. She insists she's trying, applying for jobs, waiting on responses, and planning phone calls with support services.
Okay, but once a week, once a month, you'd be able to get to Traverse City, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, because that's what family support court is. It's sometimes we work with people on the schedule, but at some point, sometimes it's once a week and sometimes it's once a month. Okay, so if you aren't able to do that, the program's not going to work anyway. But Ms. Toth, anything you'd like to say or add?
I don't go along with what she is saying for the simple reason she's been to Kalkaska, she's been to Traverse City, she's been to the UP, she's been downstate, she's been all over, and she can find a ride for that. The other thing is, if she could afford drugs and alcohol, she can afford support. She did have a job at Taco Bell. She didn't show up for work. She was fired. She was living in Traverse City, right behind Myers. I mean, there's Burger King, there's Myers, there's all kinds of stores there. This has been 2.5 years. She calls the family for food. She calls for money. She calls friends of our family. It's just not true. What she is saying is not true. She has had every opportunity to work. She refuses. And in the meantime, Waylon, I'm totally supporting Waylon. And I will, he's mine until he's 18. I accepted that responsibility and I'm very happy with it. But I am not happy about what she's doing to her child. And, this has been back and forth to the court, back and forth. And all these excuses are just exactly that. They're excuses. When she was here, she came and she brought 2 boys with her, men, kids, whatever. They were all high. And I complained and I made them change clothes. At that time, I gave Ariel a bunch of clothes and money. She no more than left here. Her father was here. She called and told her dad they just left the dispensary. Now, I've heard that several times. We just left the dispensary. I've heard it with my own ears over her father's phone. This is, I don't know what else to say.
Well, let me ask you this, ma'am. If you're the guardian over the minor, who the father's not paying anything either?
I don't know. He was supposed to go to court, I believe, but he is totally disabled. And
he's totally what? It cut out a
exactly.
little bit. I was just wondering.
Yeah, as far as his total circumstances, I don't know.
No, I'm just wondering if the father is paying as well. You're saying you're solely financially paying for the minor. Obviously, we've got 2 parents.
Yeah.
You're the guardian. Ms. Barnes, we know that she hasn't paid in a while. Do you know just off the top of your head whether the father's paying?
I do not. I do know that there was a court date, but whatever happened with that, he has a payee. So how the court handles that, I don't know.
Your Honor, the other party is on supplemental security income, which is means tested. And so when his support was calculated, it was calculated as if he had no income since it's basically federal welfare. So he does not have a support obligation.
Okay. So that doesn't take away from Ms. Barnes' responsibilities. I understand. I was just curious because I'm interested in this case. So Ms. Barnes, when was the last time you applied for a job?
The judge pivots to fairness, asking about the father's responsibility as well. The answer is blunt. The father is on SSI, legally exempt from support obligations due to 0 income.
I applied the last time I was in Traverse City. I applied when I was in the Sault Ste. Marie. I applied for a housekeeping job at a hotel. I was waiting to hear a response from it. I also heard a response that's on my email that I have to figure out how to get to from an Indeed, because I have been filling out applications on Indeed also. So I have to figure out how to get that through Zoom, through my email.
Is there anything you can pay in the next 14 days?
What'd you say, Your Honor?
Anything you can pay in the next 14 days?
I can try my best.
Right, but what's the amount?
I can try and get 100.
All right. I want to see $100 within the next 14 days. And I want you
Okay.
to follow through with Mr. Greenman, because if you can get a hold of him, we will make sure that you will have a job and that you're working, and we don't have to come back for these court hearings, because you'll be meeting with me and Mr. Hogue and Mr. Greenman to talk about staying on track and getting a job where we can get an income withholding order. I mean, the $200 a month isn't that much, especially if it sounds to me like you have 0 overnights. So with a 0 overnight calculation, it's really likely that this is a very low or a very minimal amount of child support owed, and I'm going to expect you to be paying it. Because I've done kind of all I can with extending family support court. So if we get more missed appointments and we're not following through with Mr. Greenman, I'm not even going to bother with that. We'll just handle this like a normal contempt hearing. I'm certainly sympathetic to getting you back on your feet, but that helps. I can't do everything, and Mr. Greenman can't do everything either. It's going to fall on you to get back on your feet, and missing appointments and things like that.
It's just gonna mess me up.
What's that?
I said it's just gonna probably mess me up in the long run, missing appointments. And
that's correct. Well, because you have to understand, and I kind of put it this way sometimes, I don't want you in jail because I want you to be working and paying. But if you're not paying, why would I care if you're in jail or not? It's the same result. You see what I'm saying? It's better for everybody, you, your child, everybody, if you're out of jail and working. It helps you, it helps your self-esteem, it helps your livelihood, it helps your child. But like I said, just to repeat, if you're not paying, it doesn't make any difference to me whether you're in jail or not, because you're not paying, and you're not paying while you're out. Like I said, well, I mean, what's the difference? Okay, we got to light a fire somewhere, and I'm trying to work with you with family support court. I can assure you that
this is where Judge Hagan lays it out plainly. Jail isn't punishment, it's leverage. If you're not paying while free, jail changes nothing.
When I'm working with people in family support court, it is a wildly successful program, and people get on board. I've only had one person repeat that program since I've been here in 4 years, and we have a lot of people who go through there. So it just has, you have to start taking it seriously. The family support court. I understand that you're taking your struggles seriously, but I'll adjourn this out 60 days. But I mean, if I, Mr. Hogue and I check in with Mr. Greenman, if we're not hearing that you're in there, checking in with him and following through, then we're not even going to talk about family support court next time. Okay, this is the last warning on that end. And now, I mean, of course, if you just start paying regularly, we don't even have to have these hearings. But I am interested in some long-term success here, rather than just trying to get $100 here every time we have a hearing. That doesn't help either. Okay, we got a pretty big balance, pretty big arrears, but it's not something that you can't handle once you get on your feet. But you got to get a job, and you got to keep a job. If Ms. Toth is correct, which I have no reason to doubt her, you got to keep jobs. If you're getting a job, you got to keep it. So I do expect $100 within the next 14 days. We'll adjourn 60 days, and I expect full compliance with Family Support Court, or else you'll be eliminated from that, even as an option.
Okay, and Your Honor, I have a question. How do I pay the child support at the end of the 14 days? Where do I?
Ms. Barnes, we'll send you all of the information about how payments are made. So if you're not able to make it into the office to pay, because we can always accept cash at our front counter. In fact, you could pay cash at the Kalkaska front of the court office also on this case. But if you can't get into those places, we'll send paperwork that explains all that. There are many different ways that you can make those payments. Okay. We'll get to that information with this order.
Do we have a current address for you, ma'am? Because all this is going to get mailed to you, and I want you to review that pamphlet. To be perfectly honest, there are like a million ways to pay. Okay, so you got to go through that pamphlet and find the one that works for you. But I expect that $100 in 14 days. And did you provide your current address in Kalkaska to your caseworker or to the front of the court office?
The call is clear. Courts must be firm with repeat offenders. Sympathy without enforcement fails kids every time. This case isn't about cruelty. It's about consequences. And as the video closes, the message lingers. Excuses fade, but accountability lasts.